Archaeologists uncover ancient Chamber of Secrets on mythologized Scottish mountain peak. Near an ancient Pict fort at a legendary Scottish mountain peak known as Banashee, archaeologists from the University of Aberdeen have uncovered an opening in the ground featuring steps that lead to a well chamber that could yield a treasure trove of data and artifacts. According to the university, the hill of Banashee has a folklore of giants, magical springs, and the devil who built a causeway in one night, while its archaeology includes prehistoric hut circles and the hill fort at the Mither Tap. Indeed, the Mither Tap Hill Fort on Banashee is an ancient defensive work used by the Picts to fend off the Romans nearly 2,000 years ago. And about 1,000 years ago, a well chamber was dug near the Banashee Fort and massive stone steps placed leading down to it from above ground. The well had been uncovered once in the 1800s by farmers who placed a large boulder to block the entrance in an effort to prevent their livestock from falling into it. It was then buried, only to be found again by Dr. Gordon Noble and his archaeological team earlier this month. We were really expecting to find a pretty bog-standard well, but we uncovered these fantastic steps leading all the way down to the well chamber, Noble told the press and the journal. It's particularly sophisticated for the period and created a huge amount of excitement both in the team and online. It really gives you the idea of the efforts that would have gone into building this fort. The ramparts would have been huge. There is a massive stone within that was put there in the Victorian period to prevent animals falling in, Noble wrote on Facebook. To keep people up to date on the team's progress, we're hoping we can get it out to investigate the upper well deposits. We have already removed another massive stone to reveal the steps. Awesome structure, one of the most amazing things I've seen in archaeology. Noble observed that the well does not tap into one of the magical springs of myths surrounding the mountain, but rather collected water that streamed down from the slopes. The team also found a lot of glass from the 19th century. The well is not one that taps into a spring. Instead, it collects water from the slopes in a cavity in the granite bedrock with the steps and walls constructed around this natural feature, Noble wrote. It is actually very shallow, but holds around 60 litres. Unfortunately, it was pretty heavily disturbed by 19th century monkeying around with glass all the way to the base. We have managed to sample a little bit of clay lining around one side. When they did manage to remove the stone, they found that the steps led into a lower chamber shaft. We managed to remove the massive stone that was blocking the well shaft, he wrote. But it is really a remarkable structure. We'll update you with the details of its structure and character next week, but from today's excavations we can clearly see it is a contemporary part of the fort with the lower stonework keyed into the main face of the rampart. It has been a great privilege for our team to reveal this. The steps appear to be 1,000 years old, but Noble told reporters that samples will need to be analysed to make a determination. I hope we'll be able to find intact deposits we can sample for dating, or do some pollen sampling to find out about the environment at the time the well was used, he said. Archaeology website Ancient Origins speculated on what kind of treasures the well could yield. Unfortunately, gold or any artifacts in plain sight from the Picts or Romans would have been looted a long time ago, possibly by the 19th century farmers who blocked it up, but the site also wonders if the well existed when the Picts and Romans fought it out at the Battle of Montgrapius. It is uncertain whether the fort or the prehistoric well existed at the time of the Battle of Montgrapius, but the answer to this question came closer as soon as the blocking stone was lifted. Although any artifacts that the well might have held from the Pictish armies who defended the Mither Tap, and maybe even Roman artifacts from the soldiers who took it, were long gone. Modern archaeological technology and methods can still retrieve secrets from the chamber. Data that the pollen tests provide can tell previously untold stories of living conditions the ancients encountered on this historic hill, and now the surprising construction of the prehistoric well has been photographed and recorded for all to see. It is certainly an extraordinary find that will likely help researchers learn more about this ancient site and the people who lived there. The Banashee well had to be covered up again, but it will likely be uncovered again next year when another expedition takes place. And who knows, perhaps there are some hidden artifacts just waiting to be discovered by the team. For now, it must continue to lie in wait inside this chamber of secrets, adding more mystery and lore to a place already steeped in mythology.
Artifacts found in rediscovered sacred cave could change our understanding of the Maya. The National Institute of Anthropology and History in Mexico has announced a remarkable discovery that will provide new insights into the Maya. Experts found a sacred cave where rituals were performed, filled with priceless artifacts. The find was made by archaeologists in a cave system in the Yucatan, and it is hoped that they will allow scientists to have a better understanding of the reasons for the collapse and fall of the Maya. The find was made by a team of archaeologists who were looking for sacred wells in a cave system near the abandoned Maya city of Chichen Itza in the Yucatan. The project, which was partly funded by the National Geographic, was exploring the Balancanchis network of caverns. According to the Washington Post, Balamacu is about 1.7 miles or 2.75 kilometers east of the main pyramid of Kukulkan at Chichen Itza. This cave system was once sacred to the Maya rain god Chak. The exploration of the cave. The exploration of the cave started in 2018, and experts were looking for a well that they believed was under the pyramid of Kukulkan. Some local Maya informed archaeologists of an incredible story from over 50 years earlier. They told the experts working at Chichen Itza that a discovery had been made deep in the cavern in 1966, but the lead archaeologist had sealed up the cave, possibly to preserve the find, and it was then simply forgotten about. This persuaded archaeologists that there was something else in the caverns apart from the holy well, and they began to explore the cave system. This meant crawling deep into the often narrow cave on their stomachs with only a small light attached to their helmets. After much fruitless searching, one day, archaeologist Guillermo de Anda found something that was so astonishing that it made him almost cry. A treasure trove. In the cavern, he saw approximately 155 ritual items and offerings that had lain untouched for centuries. All of the items are made of ceramic and include bowls, plates, boxes, incense burners, and braziers, and they contain organic material and possibly fragments of animal bones. The archaeologists knew that they had found a sacred cave where the Maya had once performed some of their most important and secretive ceremonies. The items that have been discovered have lain so long in the cave that stalactites have grown up around them, and for the moment, the precious hoard has been left in place. According to the National Geographic, for these Mesoamericans, caves and cenotes, or sinkholes, were considered openings to the underworld. It seemed like that ceremonies and rituals were performed in the cave to win favor of the rain god, who was very important for the Maya in their arid and dry homeland. The Maya had to crawl into the cave to perform these rites, and only priests and royalty were probably in attendance when offerings were made to the rain god. The experts have begun a preliminary investigation of the items found in the cavern. As expected, they found artifacts with a representation of the Mayan god Chak. However, they also found a surprising effigy of the rain god Tlaloc, according to Newsweek, who was a rain god from the central Mexican highlands. This was stunning and would suggest that the Maya were influenced by other cultures, and this could be very important in understanding the emergence of their civilization and history. The collapse of the Maya and climate change. The offerings, which will be dated, are all related to rain. If the local inhabitants of Chichen Itza made a great many offerings in a short period, it could indicate low rainfall and a possible drought at a given time. The objects can help scientists determine if an increasingly dry climate caused by deforestation led to the fall of the Mayan civilization in the 13th to 14th century. The Sun reports that the offering to the rain gods can shed light on the catastrophic droughts that are likely to have provoked the collapse of the Mayan civilization. This find is leading scientists to develop new strategies for subterranean archaeological excavations. For example, they're using 3D imaging to visualize the sacred cavern and to understand how the Maya viewed this revered space. Members of the team working on the site also believe that it can demonstrate the importance of archaeology to help to identify the impact of climatic change on past cultures, and this can teach modern societies how to become more sustainable.